Today, if I had $1 million, I'd put it in the bank and hopefully one day save up for a down payment on a house. This is ChillPoint.
Too real.
Hey, everybody.
Are you punishing the audience for some reason today?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to ChillPoint. And now with intro music that fades out.
Oh, cool.
So it doesn't just go at full volume for this entire starting bit and then just stop. Thanks to Graham for supplying that to me. And also, so Heather got us these...
It smells bad.
Heather got us these Coca-Cola Dream things.
I just, I thought...
I was hoping that if I drank this, that I would never have to watch the ads again. I like the ads. They have weird fruits in them.
You think that maybe the ads can tell whether you've drunk the drink or not?
There's so much that the advertising industry knows about you already. They surely must know if you've drank the thing. All right.
Smell it and tell me what you smell.
Now, you can't actually see it very well because it's down, but so I came in here and on the table were these 3 adorable coasters. Each one with a Coke on them. If you played Mario 2, a room with 3 of these things in it and things for you to take is not good.
All right,
Are you saying you don't trust my handmade coasters and my gift of Dream Pop?
I'm just saying one of these is going to be like...
I like
and
this.
then fly off screen.
Yeah, exactly, right? I like this a lot, actually. This smells amazing.
What is the taste of dreams?
Bananas?
It's fizzy like Coke.
It's kind of fruity.
Yeah, it tastes like it does like it's Coke but with stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like it's
what
not
is that thing?
But it's not a completely different flavor. But it's Coke with some sort of fruitiness.
It reminds me a bit of Pepsi Blue.
It's very tropical.
Yes, there we go. It's like it's berry-ish, but it's actually more like passion fruit or guava, like those kind of things.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just when I smelled it, I was like, it kind of smells like bubble gum that's gone bad.
I mean,
I don't like bubble gum flavored things.
Juicy fruit.
I like bubble gum to be bubble gum, and that's it.
Coke with like Baja Blast in it.
Yeah,
this is not what my dreams taste like.
it's pretty good. I'll probably drink the rest of this.
Oh, no,
I will drink the rest of this bottle. I will
drink
the rest
it.
of the bottle.
I'm not saying it's bad, but I may have liked Spaced a bit better.
Yeah.
This is definitely one that has to be drunk cold, I think. This would be pretty nasty.
Oh, yeah, I don't think this tastes good warm.
Like room temperature.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I need to keep drinking it until it is gone then. Well, we'll see.
Anyway.
Thank you for your generosity.
Yeah.
Yep, I definitely did that for good reasons.
Well, you went and bought it, like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Was it in the discount bin?
No.
Okay, good.
No, I just saw it and was like, ooh, we can do this again.
Mm.
I just enjoy the idea that we taste things and they may or may not be fun to eat.
Mm. I mean, we could heat this up. We could have hot, dreamy Coke.
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I don't want to do that at all.
Hot
but
lemon.
You know what? I will not stop you. You go and fill your dream Coke with whatever dreams you want.
Hot lemon Coke is a thing that they would serve at this Chinese food place in Edmonton, Double Greeting Wonton House. And when Ian discovered it on the menu, he was like, I have to try this. And then like every time we went in, he was having a hot lemon Coke with whatever he was eating. That man is an iconoclast. Like,
did he just take it? Did he drink it just to?
He just wanted to know what it was, and then
But then he kept going. Like,
yeah.
Did he then?
He liked it.
He liked it.
So, and I mean, when I see a thing show up on a menu at a place, especially where the food's good, I'm like, I have to assume that is probably also good. But I don't know if I want that. So
yeah, I mean, I don't usually make that assumption. But anyway, hey everybody, welcome to ChillPoint, the show where we talk about a lot of different things, occasionally video games, but mostly because the The Space Coke was sort of peripherally video game related, wasn't it?
We did a story about Space Coke.
Yeah.
Right.
Or we talked about
wasn't
Space
it, but
Coke
wasn't
in a
it
previous
part,
thing.
Wasn't it part of a promotion for something?
Yeah, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
remember. And then I found that, and I just felt like dreams were interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could find a different flavored pop every week, I'd bring it in.
Sweet.
I thought this had maybe something to do with the Minecraft guy who
that would be
who
interesting.
cheats at speedruns. That's all I know about him. People really like him because he cheats at speedruns.
I think those two things might be unrelated.
Maybe. I certainly don't mind if I'm pissing off anybody in the world who happens to like somebody popularly.
If the drinks have to be video game themed, I could try to find us like Halo Energy drinks
right.
or whatever.
Oh no!
Oh, right. There's the Pixel Coke
Right, I couldn't find Pixel Coke.
that tasted like pixels.
But we're getting close to like fall, so maybe they'll do some sort of pumpkin spice Coke that I can bring in.
Maybe the Pixel Coke was like Pepsi Strong. Remember we tried Pepsi Strong in Japan? It was
I
like
think I took that out of my memory banks.
Pepsi Strong is like overcarbonated.
I remember Pepsi Pink.
Yeah, so when you pop it open, it goes like it really just bursts, and there's so many bubbles, there's so much carbonic acid in it that it tastes really sharp. Like it's still sweet, but it's also like the bubbles are so aggressive that it tastes really sharp.
What I'm getting out of this, Paul, is that Loading Ready Run needs to send Beej and I to Japan so I can get more snacks to bring back for ChillPoint.
2 weeks maybe? It's a long enough time to kind of...
You could come too if you like
2 weeks
on our
release.
snack run.
Yeah, 2 weeks is like a good time for a vacation. It's a long for a snack run.
Vacation? I don't know. I mean, like Japan's a big place, and we gotta go all around Japan to kind of get all the best. Because you can't just go to the airport and buy snacks. Oh wait.
Oh, you can. We found actually most of our Kit Kat flavors that way.
Yeah.
But they have Kit Kat actual stores now. We could just go to. But yeah, I would make a vlog, just call it Snack Run, and it would just be about us going to every store and picking up snacks, and you see nothing else.
Yeah.
I like it.
And you could come too. I would never not invite somebody to our snack run.
Yeah. This is this is a different show, though. I guess we should do ChillPoint.
Wow.
We fucked around long enough.
Look,
Beej is the one who's saying we should get different.
I drank some
doing
Dream
that.
Coke. I proposed a dream, but Beej just wants to crash back
wow.
down into reality.
Things are getting serious.
Yeah.
now. All right, everybody, let's talk about this.
Fine.
Let's talk about some of the video game news. For those of you who haven't seen the show before, this is ChillPoint, show where we talk about yesterday's episode of Checkpoint, hence the name. And also we talk about other video game news that may have happened last week that we didn't get to on Checkpoint
That we
for
wanna
a
talk
variety
about.
of reasons. Yes.
I'm
that is an
going to
important-
point out that part because there's
Yeah.
always a bunch of video game news that I can't find or is extra, and I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. There's all sorts of video game news that comes out that is important in the industry, but isn't interesting to us in the sense of it being funny. Mm-hmm. Which usually, studios closing, new games being announced. Sometimes we talk about new games if the game seems particularly silly or interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's lots of things that we talk about. There are lots of things that happen. In some cases, important things in the industry that we don't talk about because we don't have anything funny to say about it.
Or they're happening like right now. If you're at PAX for some reason and you see like a cool game, you can tweet that at me.
But only if it's a cool game. If it's not a cool game, then don't bother. If it's just like a normal game. If it's a crappy game.
Well, I mean, nobody at PAX has crappy games.
There are no crappy games at
There are
PAX.
no crappy games at PAX. That never happened.
There's a
Probably.
process that you have to apply. Make sure your game is not
I
bad.
understand that they put a wastebasket about 10 feet away from you, and if you can throw your application into it perfectly, they're like, well, you're clearly good at games, so your game must be great.
You're good at games.
This is the application process I would probably do, just because then I wouldn't have to read anything.
Well, speaking of wastebaskets,
Right?
That's
Yeah.
where the Playboy ended up.
Oh, is that what we did with it?
Well, okay. So this is a story on. That we
I did read a
on-
comment that said that as soon as the person heard the word sex point, they just skipped this part of the episode.
That made me laugh.
Mm.
Made me laugh so hard.
And this wasn't even that sexy, really.
No, it was actually there was no part of it that was
There-
sexy.
yeah.
This was an excuse for Beach
I
to
am-
yell out the word sex
I am
point.
torpedoing my own bits now. Like,
Yeah.
what a surprise.
But yeah, so this is apparently UK developer Rare made was making a portable console, ostensibly one that sounded actually pretty cool. It was like color,
Yeah.
and it had a bunch of cool stuff, and
Yeah.
it had like this. There's a picture of it on the thing. It's like a little like curved screen,
Yeah,
or
and
sort of
I
a
think
tilted
I
up
think
screen.
it was permanently tilted too. It wasn't, which I'm like, wow, that makes it harder to manufacture
It
because
looked like a 80s cell phone to me.
it was yeah, it did actually, didn't
Yeah.
it?
I mean, it probably would have been like way too expensive.
yeah, screen looked a little smaller than the Game Boy screen by just not by a lot, but by a bit. But yeah, I imagine it was probably going to come in at like $300.
Interestingly, talking about Rare hardware, I think now I might be totally wrong about this, but I thought that Rare was also in terms of hardware. Like obviously, Rare is known for doing a lot of a bunch of
Yes.
really high quality video games.
Yes.
But I have this memory that I think there was something about Rare also was one of the people who made like some of the developer hardware. It's like if you wanted to make if you wanted to like make a game for Nintendo,
Yeah.
you needed the thing so that you can like it was basically like a thing that attached to a regular that allowed you to like load code onto a Nintendo.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
try
yeah,
to-
yeah, yeah.
For developing and
I remember this. They that it was. I can't remember if it was them or not, but I thought it. But I think I'm remembering
was
something about this. Yeah.
It was a UK well-known UK game developer.
Yeah.
And I was like, was it Rare?
Yeah. I don't think it was Argonaut. Like it might have been Rare, but it was like basically it's like it was like a cartridge port, but had like lines coming off it that you could plug into something else, so you could actually feed it with the code you needed.
And
to
it
play
was
or
basically
something,
they
yeah.
made it for themselves.
Yeah, and then
because they needed one, and
Right.
then they were selling it to other people.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
that sounds like what happens a lot.
So, yeah, the trick here, like this thing, one of the Stamper brothers who founded Rare, I believe, they had made the Raz arcade board, is what comes up in the article. So, this arcade board uses a Zilog Z80. Now, the Game Boy uses a Zilog Z80, but I believe like a Japanese manufactured equivalent of the Zilog Z80. Like because back then I watched some great stuff on Low Spec Gamer about this. Everybody was ripping off CPU designs.
Right.
Like the 6502 that eventually made its way into the Nintendo was actually not a proper MOS semiconductor 6502. It was a knockoff made by I think Ricoh. And then when they wanted to use something similar in the Game Boy, the guys who were making the Famicom were like, tough shit, I'm not letting you talk to Rico. And so they had to go find something else. And I think they went to Sharp and they got whatever Sharp was making that was like based on the Z80. So it was like CPUs based on CPUs, like this kind of weird thing. And yeah, they had, or maybe I have the companies reversed or whatever. But yeah, so it's basically, this was very similar to a Game Boy in terms of what it could accomplish. It's just that the Rare decided they would just do thousands of colors as opposed to, four. And
Presumably there was some serious trade-offs
yeah,
on their part in order to enable that. Either it was going to be a lot more expensive or it had to devote more of its processor to that or something.
well, when you open the inside, it's like, here's everything that was inside of it. And it's like multiple circuit boards sandwiched together on top of each other. And I'm like, the Game Boy is not that. The Game Boy is a single board that takes up only a little bit of space.
And Nintendo knew that to make we have to put this in the realm of toy,
Yeah.
not of high-end electronics.
Exactly.
I mean, we have examples of that today. Switch, Steam
Right,
Deck,
Yeah.
right? Like, there's a difference in performance. There's a difference in cost.
yeah,
And
exactly.
it sort of puts it into that different. So, but yeah, you can imagine though that like you're all excited. You've got this cool new product that is going to blow everybody away, and you go and Nintendo announces and shows off the Game Boy.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
I don't even know if they
Well-
announced a price, but if they did, that would have been even more killer. It'd
I
be
mean,
like
they might not have.
$99. What?
Because like CES isn't always necessarily about announcing a thing with a price. Sometimes
No.
it's just about showing off stuff that you're R&Ding or
Oh, and especially
or
back then,
ideas,
yeah.
right?
It was
Like,
all about show the coolest thing that you're going to come up with, and then maybe a third of it would make its way to market.
I can imagine that there would be like a lot of sort of concert like, I mean, apparently they didn't call. You think they would phone back to England and be like, what do we do?
Yeah.
But apparently they didn't.
Yeah, because international phone calls were expensive and a pain in the ass to organize.
Yeah.
And so it's like you could fax somebody because they would get
So
it
I
the
just-
next day, but
you know,
yeah.
you go home and there's like, the Rare headquarters, they've got like a big banner like, welcome home
Yeah.
to the successful launch of the
of the Playboy.
of the Playboy.
Yeah.
Which I can also imagine that they're like, it's the Game Boy, and the people with the Playboy being like, that was a better name.
Better
We should've
name!
we should have gone with that.
Jesus, yeah.
Well, okay, so we
Because
have
Playboy,
we
like
have,
the magazine, would have existed at this point.
Yes, it
we
absolutely
have
would have.
Playboy, Game Boy, Playdate,
Right. Exactly.
Play game. I mean, the
Gameplay. No, wait.
But it does show that if they were unaware of each other's work, and it has never come out that Nintendo was aware of what the hell Rare might have been doing. So they might not have bid on their name, but I mean they were working together as like that Rare was developing games for the Famicom, for the NES, so they were
So
like,
I mean, maybe
but-
Rare would have had an inkling that they were working on.
maybe
something,
yeah.
yeah.
Or they might have mentioned it offhand or whatever. It's like who knows who might have named something first, or whether they just both decided ultimately that it's a cute little thing, and it's not a Walkman, right? But it's
did
like a
Rare
Game
ever-
Man, but Game Boy. That sounds kind of fun, you know.
Talk Boy was a different thing. Did Rare make any Game Boy games?
What a great question.
Because
Shit, I don't know.
When a new system's coming out, some devs do know about that, or at least about specs that they have to aim for because they're making games targeted towards the new thing.
Wikipedia can tell us
But
probably.
if Rare
Yeah.
never made a Game Boy game, they might not have been on that list.
Or at least an early Game Boy game.
Yeah, Rare Limited,
They're
Perfect
Rare,
Dark.
Rare's owned by Microsoft and does like tech support.
I mean,
now.
technically, Donkey Kong Country, they might have made a Donkey Kong Country for that. Let's just have a look here.
I bet there's like a really crappy Donkey Kong Country port for.
Yes. Oh, Jesus, really?
The first Game Boy game was 1990, so
Wizards and Warriors 10, The Fortress of Fear. I have that game. It's by Acclaim Entertainment. Rare would have been, what, the publisher? Or did they actually make it? That game was miserable as fuck. Oh, God, it was
I mean,
bad, guys.
a number of Game Boy games were not
Like,
amazing.
the Wizards and Warriors games were not that great to begin with, but they were interesting and they had kind of cool music and whatnot. But Wizards and Warriors 10 on the Game Boy was just kind of like, this was not... This was trying to capture that same thing, and it still was like just really hard, and I didn't like playing it.
There's a whole.
apparently, Acclaim was the publisher.
Oh fuck! They did the Amazing Spider-Man. I owned that one too. That
Yeah.
game sucked.
Yes,
Oh no!
because-
Oh no!
Yes, early Spider-Man games never had him doing web slinging properly.
Super RC Pro Am. Yes, that game ruled for the Game Boy. That I still have
Okay.
that game. And that game,
Game-
I have 3 games by Rare that I had no idea.
Each can be happy that one of those games was actually good now.
All right. 1 out of 3 ain't too bad.
Maybe you should get off the Wikipedia page before you have other nostalgia
And
attacks.
yeah, because then after that, it's just like Battletoads. They made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There was 12 instances of Battletoads in 2 years. It was everywhere.
Okay.
I mean, there's a whole realm of like Game Boy games that were like very cut down ports of like, it's like this game came out for Super Nintendo, and then we also made a Game Boy one. How is that possible? The Game Boy is much less powerful. Oh, we just cut everything.
Yeah, you know.
And made it terrible. Mm-hmm. Like I distinctly remember like in a magazine seeing that like Mortal Kombat for Super Nintendo was like a 10 out of 10 game at for Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
because it was, had graphics that nobody had really seen
And
at
it
that
felt
point.
like their arcade
And it was amazing.
game. Yeah.
And Mortal Kombat for Game Boy, which existed, was like 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
It was like anyway.
I mean, we watched that Sakurai video where he talked about making Kirby more accessible by making it easier, but also it was on the Game Boy, which he didn't feel bad about it being easier because the Game Boy screen was so small.
Yeah.
Well, it's the difference between, like, it's, making a game that's actually optimized for whatever platform versus trying to just kind of fit it in.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Playboy, they have apparently it was thought to be lost.
Yeah.
Like that they knew that it had existed, but nobody had a prototype of it. But they found one.
Yeah.
And now it is in the Retro Computer Museum in Leicester, UK. And the image that I put up on screen for that is the Retro Computer Museum's front page of their website with their logo.
Yeah.
It is one of the ugliest logos I've seen in a very long time.
It totally feels like very United Kingdom design to me. Like, just looking at it, I'm like, oh, that definitely feels like that was made in the UK. Yep. Yeah. No, Rare did a bunch. I mean, people who are like, oh, Rare made all these things. It's like, yes, well, because Rare, like, made a ton of games, and it wasn't until, like, the Super Nintendo that they really kind of came into their own, and it wasn't until, like, the N64 when all the just something happened to that dev team, and it was just like, we're cranking out game after game that's just fun all the way to the end. And, like, probably that had to do with the fact that Nintendo had bought 49% of the company at a certain point, and they were like a second party publisher, and it's like, we are getting so much money and so much support, because then after that, Nintendo did nothing to do anything with Rare, and we didn't see anything else out of them, I think, like, other than Star Fox Adventures. They were just kind of done. They were like, we're not doing anything else anymore.
Is that the one with
Well,
Crystal?
And Microsoft owns them now.
Yeah, and Microsoft ended up buying them up, which was a good move by Microsoft. Sorry, what was the
The Star Fox Adventures, is that the one with Crystal?
Yes.
The one that got...
one where Crystal was supposed to be the main character?
Yeah.
It was Dinosaur Planet? Yeah, and then they's like, why don't you just put Star Fox on that and put Fox in there? Make Crystal somebody who shows up, maybe. Maybe. He doesn't even have to show up, maybe. No, she should show up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like how Blizzard used to make all sorts of great, wonderful, interesting, different games.
Lost Vikings.
Yeah, Lost Vikings.
Hell yeah. Up top.
Don't they only make, like,
Now they make
Diablo?
Yeah, now they make Diablo and WoW.
Oh, right, WoW. Sorry, I keep forgetting about WoW. Nobody I know talks about that game anymore.
Maybe StarCraft someday?
Not that nobody plays that game. I know people play it, but in my circle,
Yeah.
people used to play it, and now I don't hear them talk about it. Too much magic in their bloods.
Well, there's another person who's developing a game,
Okay.
and that person is Tom Hanks. Although probably
I'm
not
not-
like him personally. Although I don't know what kind of app development experience Tom Hanks has, but
Oh,
I'm guessing
right.
not him personally.
Right. Sorry, I remembered the second app that he did that gets announced in the story, and I was like, is a writing application really
Hanks
a
Writer,
game?
yeah.
Yeah. No, Hank's Writer. It came out in 2017 because apparently Tom Hanks is a really big fan of typewriters.
Sure. Typewriters
So-
are great.
Which is, I mean, I'm sure there was articles about it at the time, but that's one of those fascinating, like, how did that come about, right? Like,
Yeah.
that, I mean, he's a fan of typewriters, sure, but how does that translate into, I want to make an app for mobile devices that is a note-taking app that looks like a typewriter?
Yeah. Yeah, right? It's... I guess it's
somebody
because
says, we want to make an app with your name on it because we think it'll sell. What's the thing that you're into?
And he
Yeah, I
said
guess they're like
typewriters.
literal, like we'll make literally any app.
Yeah.
But so anyway, Hanks 101 is a trivia game, and I like Kathleen in the lower thirds. Kathleen said, "I will legit try this on Apple Arcade," because as we all know, Kathleen is a huge trivia fan.
Mm-hmm. And has subscribed to Apple Arcade, as we
and
all
is
know.
subscribed to Apple Arcade. So
Yes, that's all
yeah.
she ever talks about.
There's
She doesn't play any of those games, but she talks about them incessantly.
I mean, trivia, but
Yeah. Now, I thought initially that this was a Tom Hanks trivia game. That it was like,
Wait,
it's going to
it's
be
not?
filled with questions
No, it
about Tom
doesn't-
Hanks'
it doesn't,
life.
At least all the like sample pictures and stuff I've saw doesn't actually have any questions about Tom Hanks.
Right.
But then why would you call it Hanks 101? It sounds like the intro to
It's endorsed by him, I guess.
Yeah.
to Hank's trivia.
Um,
Also, why is his name spelled with an X?
It's
because
mobile.
it's cool, I guess.
It's mobile.
Since when?
This is not.
Since when is using the X cool? The Z is supposed to be cool.
He
Why
could've-
isn't Hans?
He could have put an I in front of his name and been like Hanks.
I Hank. I mean,
Uh,
I'd go for that. That's funny.
I mean, looking at the pictures, a lot of the questions look a lot like those the slides that they used to like play before movies. Before they
yeah.
just played ads.
That's right. Yeah.
Could they like? There was one that was like, "Here's a celebrity's blurred face.
Yeah.
Who is this person?"
I've done that. I remember when I used to go to movies.
Do you?
That was years ago.
That wasn't even like a pandemic thing. You just stopped going to movie theaters. Oh, Hams is good. I like that. We should call it that.
Tom Hams.
Hams.
And as Kathleen says, the fact that this appears to be like a legit app that actually is like well made and it's got multiplayer features and different things. Like it appears to actually have had some thought put into it. I don't know how the Hanks Writer app is, whether that's also considered to be like a fairly high quality.
Is it multiplayer?
Probably not.
Oh, it's too bad.
Can someone explain to me what the other actor app was?
Oh, the Jeremy Renner app.
Yeah. Why was that a dig?
Emerging news on Jeremy Renner.
So there was, there was a Jeremy Renner app.
Also, do I know who that is?
Jeremy Renner, he's
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah. But he, so there's this company that I don't know if they're still doing it, but they were making apps for lots of celebrities. They had like hundreds of them. And it was basically, it's like, this is your personal connection to this celebrity. It was like, it's like Instagram, but just for that one person.
That's really good. Yeah. I see that Bycaster has said that. Yes.
Yeah. And so you would get like updates from Jeremy Renner or
So
whatever.
he made a blog that was just an app.
Yeah.
Specific.
So you had to like download it as a separate app, and it was like a thing.
All right.
Anyway, apparently, but what happened is, a few different things happened, but one of the big things is a guy from Vancouver actually realized that, because the app is called like Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he realized that when Jeremy Renner like posts something in the app, and then a notification comes on their phone, it's like it looks like Jeremy Renner, the actor himself,
Is messaging you.
Has text messaged you and said this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I could see people being into that.
Yeah.
And he realized that there were ways to, by putting like posting in the app and stuff, the ways to make it so you could make it look like Jeremy Renner is saying whatever you want.
Oh no.
And then people sort of snowballed with that for a while.
Oh.
And eventually Jeremy Renner was like, you know what, I thought this would be kind of a cool thing for fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the
for
internet is
fans
a
to
terrible
do,
place.
But it's not fun anymore. And
Oh.
I think he actually said it's become everything I hate about the internet.
Oh, I actually
So
feel bad about that.
we're going to take it off the App Store and we'll refund everybody's purchase price.
Because you had to pay for this thing that
I mean,
was
I'm
an
not-
advertisement
yeah.
for one person.
Good. I'm not into that. But I do feel bad that it's like, this was fun and now nothing is
Yeah.
fun again. I don't
Like
like that. That's
I kind of like that. I kind of like how that he handled it that way. Like just being like, I thought this would be a fun thing for my fans to do, but we can't have nice things. So
I'll be right
sorry.
back.
Yeah, I mean, because I've seen moments where that happens to people who are not as famous, and it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And then
we're
you
not
sort of
allowed
try to
nice
like double
things.
down on it and try to do stuff.
Yeah.
I remember. There's an interview with. I don't know why I thought of this, but there's an interview with the band Lordi, the Finnish rock band that came to prominence for winning Eurovision many years ago.
All right.
Or years ago, they're amazing. They're very. They have all these like sort of semi tongue-in-cheek satanic songs, sort of like, I guess, a little bit like Guar, but sillier. Anyway, and they always wear like makeup and like big outfits. They'll have like monster outfits that they wear on stage.
All right, sure, yeah.
And they always wear like in all interviews and all stage stuff, and they're like they have special stage names and things. And so when they got really big on they won Eurovision with this song called Hard Rock Hallelujah, which is awesome. They got famous, and like somebody, some journalist, tracked down non-makeup pictures of them and like printed it in a newspaper.
Oh no.
Right?
No, but they clearly have a branding thing that they do.
And Lordy, and like the lead singer who goes by just, I think, Mr. Lordy, they like interviewed him afterwards. He was like, yeah, it sucks. Like I don't, like, we were trying to do something cool and like have it as a thing, and then it kind of got ruined, so that sucks. Like, he wasn't like angry, like super like, you violated our privacy and stuff. He was just kind of like, yeah, it was a thing with the monsters and stuff.
I mean, that's how the good stories tend to end, sadly, is with a person being like, yeah, well, now I'm sad. It's never ending with a rager, right? That's not how those tend to go.
And not angry, just disappointed. And you know what? H-Bomb and Friends had a good point there, because Hard Rock Hallelujah is in Rock Band. And we were we had a story here about that Muse is having 3 new songs added to Rock Band. And as some people rightly pointed out in the chat or in the comments, it's not like Rock Band hasn't been updated for 14 years and they've suddenly just added 3 Muse songs.
Yeah.
Rock Band, I'll be honest, I actually had to double check when I saw the story that like I kind of thought Rock Band was not in development anymore. Because the last thing I heard about them was they had been Harmonix got partially bought by Mad Catz, and then Mad Catz went out of business. And so I assumed that was also that Rock Band 4 didn't work. But apparently not. Harmonix is now owned by Epic, I believe.
I think so. That's right. Chat want to fact check that? And
Rock Band continues.
Yeah.
I will say that there were a very non-zero amount of comments that wanted Beach to make a Muse joke from Love Live.
Yeah.
As in Mew. As in the letter Mew.
Yes, because his Mew apostrophe S is pronounced Muse. And I need you to understand that I don't give a shit about Love Live either. I don't care about Rock Band and I don't care about Love Live.
But you're saying you do care about Mace and Mose and Meese?
I think about as much as I cared about the rest of them. I was like, that's the thing is I'm like, I could always make the things like, oh, that would have been taking the joke too far. And it's like,
no.
Beach taking a joke too far? Like, that doesn't seem like... doesn't sound like me.
I mean, I guess the answer is you didn't think of it?
It did not occur to me at all that I was like, because I was not trying to do a riff on Muse as much as I just thought it was funny that there was another band, the rapper Maze, I thought was actually named Muse, and then I realized that wasn't true, and I'm like, I wonder if there's other bands that have that same problem with Muse. Oh, there are.
Yeah.
Well, I have to really reach for all of these then, don't I?
I think the Love Live connection that many of our fans were making is not a bad connection to make. I don't think it works with the joke flow that you were going with, because it is too close to the actual sound of the band name.
I would have had to have put this Love Live picture up, put the Muse logo up so everyone kind of hopefully gets it, and then I would have had to let Kathleen actually beat the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I will also say that I think you may be the only person in history to have gotten Muse and the rapper Mace confused.
Yep. I don't music. What can I say?
I was so happy. I saw in the comments somebody which had the same reaction I had, which was literally the only time I have heard of the rapper Mace, is we made a joke a very long time ago in a video that Graham and Kathleen shot when Kathleen still lived up in Prince George.
Mm.
That's
About
quite some time
how
ago.
dangerous it was outdoors. They're like, oh no, there's bears out there. And then and then we could get some bear mace. And
Right.
then we had a picture of a bear dressed up like Mace.
Great.
Like that was a Photoshop picture.
Wow.
Good.
That was the only thing. That's the only thing I associate Mace the rapper with.
But yeah, I think the biggest news out of this is that we all realize that Rock Band still happens.
Yeah. And is being updated with new songs. And apparently, and I mean, in Knights of Sidonia is a banger. Like, so the other funny thing about this is, so I marked this, like, a new song is being added to Rock Band.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously isn't news.
Yes.
That happens every couple weeks. But the fact that it was, that they hadn't that they haven't added any Muse songs for 14 years. And the reason why I marked this, though, is I remember back when we played Rock Band 14 years ago or whatever, when the game came out, I remember Kathleen being excited that Muse was in it.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, hey, Kathleen, Muse.
She'll love this.
She'll love this.
And she's just like, Paul, it's been 14 years and I don't like them anymore.
And then, and then we got the great after credits bit of her explaining why she doesn't like him.
Yep.
Well, I do want to point out, while the Rock Band is not news to some, it's still news to us.
Yes, it's Muse to us.
Muse. Oh, don't give me a Mew new. Okay, we can move on.
We have Rocksmith news as well. Hang on for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, you could. What about? What was it? Maybe multiple Muse, MU, as in the Pokemon.
Oh,
Muse.
could have done that. Yeah, could have done lots.
Except
of
that's not a
Oh,
band.
Mew? Yeah.
Oh yes. Also, also the thing of Mies, the London-based traditional Irish music band.
Is that how it's pronounced?
I don't know.
I'm assuming Mies.
Mies, maybe
Yeah.
Mies is the way to do it. Composed of 6 young musicians and featuring a wide range of instruments.
Call it Miss.
Beej put a note on that saying, I couldn't find any photos of them. Use a pic of you two and put no photo found across the top or bottom.
Yeah.
So that was entirely his idea?
Yep.
The interesting thing is, I saw nobody commenting on that on the YouTube video.
I literally was like, I almost was like, don't put up. I should just tell Paul, just put up a picture of you two and don't say anything. Like, just leave it there and see what happens.
So I don't know whether that means maybe Mies doesn't have any big fans in our audience.
Well, they will be Meest.
I was just surprised. Go to the Wikipedia page for Mies Band, M-I-S-E
Mies.
Band. And
Mies.
yeah, you'll notice that I gave you the entire Wikipedia article. I don't know why it hasn't been struck, because I'm like...
Did you just look for
More-
like M blank SE and just put in different vowels until it came out with a band?
I went Maze, and then I went Mies, and then I was like, okay, that doesn't work. Then Mies Music, and I saw a band pop up, and like, great, click that. Okay. And then like the same thing with Moe's Music, and I'm like, Wikipedia, Moe's Disambiguation. Metse I tried, like, because M-E-Z-E, I was like, well, maybe we can try a Mies or something like that. But Metse Audio is a headphone manufacturer in Romania, and they make very high-end headphones, and DankPods has a couple of those. He was reviewing them, and they sound sweet, apparently. So they use Ukrainian technology. I was surprised to learn this. Reading this stuff, it's like they're Romanian headphones using Ukrainian technology. I'm like, they're probably not making a ton of those headphones right now. So
I just like that as like a tagline. Romanian headphones, but with Ukrainian technology. I mean, maybe if you're in Romania, that's like a big, like, I don't know what Ukrainian technology would be.
All this focus on Ukraine, and like every time I see it pop up now, I'm like, man, there's a big tech industry in Ukraine that I was unaware of.
Phil Sorgar says they actually make amazing headphones.
Yeah, $5,000 headphones.
It's a little rich for me.
Yeah, well, they also make $300 headphones. So yeah, and,
It's more within my price range.
and they make a $79 pair of headphones.
I'm worried about that price differential now.
I mean, it's different types. It's not just the same headphones for different prices.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but there's a cost quality thing, and yeah.
They use more plastics in the $79 one. The $300 ones or the $180 ones use like wood and stuff. They look really nice. Anyway, this is getting way off track.
The last story in the actual episode was talking about this person selling off their collection of every single console, 2,400 consoles.
Now in the eBay thing, it said over 2,200, and then but this is like because I'm like, is that just means that the dude lost count? He was off by 200 consoles, or I don't. Maybe the article picked up on it wrong. I don't know, but
That's and including so.
it's variations.
That's not. Yeah. I was slightly less impressed. I mean, it's still a lot of consoles.
Yes.
Do they all
Let's
work?
take it wrong. They're all like in box, at least from the pictures. They all appear to be like in their packaging.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some of them are probably like brand new in box. Some are probably like new old stock, and then some of them are probably like I had the box for my Sega Master System, and then after I played with it for like a year or whatever, I put it all back and put it away. Like
you buy a used console,
Yeah.
and generally the first thing you do is like you try to make sure it works and everything. But now you have over 2,000, 2,400 of these things
Yeah.
to be checking. That's just a lot of work.
And it's so like
And
if
my
it was,
backlog's
if
already
it was,
big enough without extras.
it might,
If it was 2,400 different consoles, I think it would be. I mean, I can't say it like it's. I think that would be cooler.
Yeah.
Like as opposed to like a whole bunch of variations on, individual consoles. Still a lot of consoles. so,
absolutely.
probably worth more than $1 million in aggregate.
Yeah.
So
trying
it's
to move
probably
a lot.
it's probably a deal. If you want 2,400 assorted consoles.
Yeah, if you're looking to buy a collection, that's
if
like
you want a
this is-
grab bag of 2,400 assorted consoles.
Yeah. Could you?
No,
Imagine, you
I
have
mean-
you have like a giant party, and that's like when people leave,
Right.
they could just take they
Right.
get to take a random console.
I'm just imagining this guy showing up to MagFest with like all of it and being like, so he just took over the ballroom and got 2,400 TVs and plugged all of them in and let everyone play these consoles.
has this collection actually sold? Because I think the Splatoon LED just came out, which means he's missing one.
Yes. Well, I mean, technically he's missing the Playboy because despite the fact that it never got released, that it's being billed as one of every console, including consoles that have never been released.
Well,
And I'm like, I know the Playboy was a prototype stage thing, and it probably didn't even have games you could play on it. And so then it depends. How do you define a video game console? If it was never released, does that mean that it doesn't have games for it? Does that even count as a video game console anymore?
That's a good point. But that's a good point. He's got 2,400 consoles.
Yeah.
How many games does he have?
Maybe just the ones that came with the games? Or with the
So many-
consoles?
like the bundle packs.
So many copies of that Mario Duck Hunt.
Yeah, and Wii Sports and like
that means he has all the different colors of the N64 that came out, right?
yeah.
So we can put
So-
that up in a rainbow. That'd be
But
fun.
other than that, you have like all these vintage consoles, but you don't actually have any of the games that people would want to play on those consoles. Anyway,
I mean, I used to just buy games for consoles I didn't have yet that I intended to get later.
oh really? Like aspirational games?
Well, just because
Like if they were on sale?
sometimes you're waiting for the console to go down, but like the games are on sale, you can grab them. And
I mean, I did that when I asked for a couple DVDs for Christmas once, and we didn't have a DVD player yet because I was like, I'm gonna get a DVD
was
player.
that a hint?
It was more that I knew
Have
I was
some
gonna
DVDs.
I knew I was gonna get a DVD player, and so then I was like, yes, I will do that.
Well, I'm just wondering if it's like that thing of where sometimes your parents or like my parents were often like that, where it's like prove that you actually need this thing. It's like, well, I have all the games,
Yeah.
so clearly
You
I
don't
need
want
it.
me to have wasted all my money, do
Yeah.
you? And then the last story the coming up was talking about the new Shovel Knight Dig, which I thought the main joke was that Shovel Knight actually shoveling stuff was surprising.
A primary part of the game is actually shoveling things.
It's actually digging.
Yeah.
It looks kind of cool actually. It's like it's sort of a roguelike thing, and it's for mobile, I think.
I had expected it was going to be more like those like SteamWorld Dig. like more that the game is really heavily focused on dig your way through a thing, find stuff, that style of game. And it looks like it's not that. It's about moving down and moving across and whatever. But it doesn't seem like you do a lot more digging than you've ever done in Shovel Knight before. But it is a lot.
But it's not primarily digging.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's a roguelite. So
most rogues are.
All right. Let's talk about some stories that didn't show up in the episode. Starting with Big Chungus.
Yes.
Our favorite weird
It's a dead meme
that actually sort of exists.
Now we did a story on this.
We did a story
years ago.
We did a story on another instance of this.
Yeah.
So Big Chungus. Here, let me bring the picture up to remind you.
It was a gotcha game thing that you did the story on.
That's what it was. Yeah.
This is different.
So Big Chungus.
So much they've colored him. Ooh, he's got to glow up.
So this was a there was an old episode of Bugs Bunny where does he get fat for some reason?
I don't know if I've actually ever seen the episode. To be
Okay,
honest.
in about 5 frames of animation, Bugs makes himself really fat to, I think, do an impression of something, and then slims himself back down and goes. It is the tightest goddamn clip, and I think it's meant to make fun of Elmer Fudd. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then, and so the people had decided that made the joke. This is like this, like its own character, Big Chungus.
Yeah.
Which is like basically Bugs Bunny, but like way bigger. And then it sort of took off as a thing, and Warner Brothers actually put it in. There was a gotcha game that it was in. And now he's going to be in multiverses.
Yeah.
They think.
Yeah.
That's it's not actually.
Oh no, they've just applied for a trademark.
They've applied for a trademark, and so the article is suggesting that he'll be in multiverses because that's their current new big thing.
Right.
Which makes sense, but that has not been a thing that's actually been announced in any way.
All right.
So that could not be a thing at all.
Yeah. And I don't think he shows up. I don't think Big Chungus ever shows up in Space Jam: The Legend Continues. So
Not that I know of.
I just assume that it's like, this is his
in
next
the
biggest
sequel.
appearance.
I don't know if I watched that.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. No idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of you may have actually seen, especially when we were doing like the crap shoots and stuff, showing behind the scenes things. On the walls in our
food zone,
we've got these cool like exploded diagrams of video game consoles.
Yeah, they're kind of like, well, they're not fully exploded. But they are like, they're very line arty kind of. We want to give you
They
an
show
impression
off the
of.
insides.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You want to go take a look and
I
double
do
check?
actually. I'll be right back.
Beach is going to go confirm our facts for us because we are a serious show.
So
serious.
It's cool pictures. So it's a picture that shows off this thing. Anyway, they're super neat. But there's something cooler that you can get. You can get a company called Grid. It has a thing with video game consoles and phones and different things.
We have been fact checked. Well, you're wrong.
Yes, I
It
figured
does not
we
show
were.
off the insides.
Yeah. Okay.
Very serious show. Thank you for fact checking.
They're very blueprinty though. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. But if you want an actual thing of an exploded console, you can talk to Grid, and they make these things. It's like a light box, and with an actual. So it's a 3D thing because it's the actual parts of a real Game Boy that they have separated out all the little bits and pieces, and put little diagrams and marks and stuff on it.
Yeah. Now, the original article about this is based on the Joy-Con one because it's being like, oh, if you got Joy-Con drift, do this with it, which not a bad idea. But if art's not the way you want to go, it's supposed to be quite simple to replace your Joy-Con sticks, and probably a lot cheaper than buying these.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it does look very cool.
Yeah.
Also, they do actually. There is actually a thing on the FAQ being like, "I'm sorry for various like import tariff reasons. We can't take like your Joy-Con and turn it into the exploded thing."
Yeah. I like the fact that they used an opportunity to really introduce some color into it as well, to be like, it's not just the blue and the red. They're like, no, let's actually put the Switch in the center with a big blue patch and a big red patch. I'm like, I like that. I like that they leaned into trying to make them a little more colorful. Like the Game Boy Advance one, because it's like, well, we'll use an indigo Game Boy Advance, so it really kind of pops on your wall a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were going to get one of these things, I'd want the specific coloring of
The one
like
that you
the
have.
one that,
Yeah.
makes me nostalgic.
I think these are neat, and I think what they also do is in a lot of cases they show off how few parts actually go, like discrete parts, not like, because it's like, there's the Game Boy Advance motherboard. Yeah, it's all kind of one thing. It's not like 10 or 12 different parts that all connect together. It's like, it's one thing with a bunch of little parts on it.
The more motherboard, the more expensive, right?
Yeah.
So it's like trying to keep it all as compact as possible.
And so it's kind of fun to see how it's like, oh yeah, here's all the pieces that actually disconnect, that you can actually take the rubber parts out, the silicone parts out, you can take the buttons out, the springs come out, like those kind of things. And like seeing with the Joy-Cons, it's like, yeah, there's a lot going inside a Joy-Con, and at the same time, there's not a lot going inside a Joy-Con
there's
at
very
all.
little inside a Joy-Con.
You know, it's like we can pop the sticks off. They're meant to be uninstalled.
It's very precise.
Yeah. I really like it. I like knolling as a design feature. We're not ever going to buy any of these for the Moonbase, by the way. Yeah.
I wouldn't think so.
I mean, probably not.
I'm not putting $300 down on art.
But you do know that the person you gotta like tell that to is James.
Yes, pretty much.
Not us. We didn't buy any of those paintings.
I would like to the dismissiveness that you were like, I'm not putting $300 down on art.
And I'm looking right outside at goddamn framed foil sheets. We don't need
that
more
one's
art.
not ours.
I know, right? Yeah,
But just the contempt you have with the idea of spending $300 on art, which is not that much money to spend on art.
No, exactly. I mean, if those things were not, if they were actually like giant, like if they took up most of a wall and all the parts were like huge,
I mean,
then I'd feel differently. Then I'd be like, I'd spend a $500 maybe on that thing to take up a huge space in my wall.
The
but
original hardware actually
that would
exploded.
defeat the
then.
entire
There's
purpose of the
yeah,
right?
operation.
You'd have to make giant versions of the buttons and giant versions of the silicone things, and you'd be like an oversized Game Boy Advance.
Stop ruining art.
I love this. Well, no, that's the point of art. The point of art is supposed to be transformational, and that's transformational, but also the idea of making a giant Game Boy Advance.
You know what is also transformational if you have a Joy-Con? Making it one-handed. One-handed Joy-Con.
Oh yeah, this was cool.
So, if you've watched ChillPoint and ChillPoint for a while, you know that I'm a sucker for accessibility stuff in games or in hardware and stuff. I love interesting stories about accessibility things, and there's this neat thing where this person has made adjusted a Joy-Con, like the double Joy-Con thing, to work one-handed. So the idea being that you use all the buttons with one on one side, and then the second Joy-Con is upside down with a special
series of like levers.
Yeah, special rig so that so a series of levers that push the buttons, so you can push the buttons on the face, but also a thing so that you can put it onto the table and move your hand around to move the other.
Yeah, because you still have to move the other stick.
Yeah.
This is like a 3D printed thing that he made. It also, at some point in the video, he shows off a leg strap. So if you don't have a table, you can put it in there to move the joystick. He also made a left-handed version one, which had to be done a bit differently because the buttons it's not symmetrical between the two Joy-Cons. It's a neat little video, too, because he shows you the first try with the stick moving thing, and accidentally, because the Joy-Con's upside down,
Right, so you had to flip the directions.
Stuff reversed, and yeah, it was neat.
It's an interesting.
This is like a left-handed PlayStation controller is actually pretty awesome. Too.
It's an interesting means of tackling the problem of accessibility, right? Where it's like if I only have one hand, and whichever hand that I have, and it's like how do I manufacture a device that lets me play because I can utilize my hand and teach myself how to play a game that has two-handed controls. I could teach myself how to do it with one hand, perhaps, and I like that.
But there's a lot of games that you can't. Like
Yeah.
you that cannot be played without using the controls that are over here.
Exactly. Well, but that's what I mean. Is like taking this and being like, I'm gonna come up with a way to tackle this, but also tackle it in a way where I don't have to make a custom controller from scratch. I don't have to like empty out. I don't have to like dig in, like take a controller apart, take all the pieces that are in there, and then reroute stuff and make like a custom case and whatever. It's like I literally just 3D print a bunch of stuff, and I can slide my Joy-Cons into it and set these things up that way. And like you're using set hardware from the company, and you're like, I'm making the accessibility solution that just uses your things as like it's a sled for your stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of cool that because the Joy-Cons slide in and out and stuff,
Yeah.
it allows them.
I really liked the amount of thought he put into it because
Yeah.
there's like he talks about making the grip handle like a lot more sturdy because it's one-handed, so you don't have like the steadiness of the other hand.
Yeah.
But also there's the testing that he shows with the games that he's playing. He does one where he fights in Smash with Noodle Cup Girl from ARBS.
Yeah, Min
Min because you need to have both sticks to operate both her arms, which is unique, I guess, to that character. And so it's like now you're playing a fighting game where you have to use both sticks.
Right.
And how easy is that to do?
Here's a interesting story about one of these people ruin things.
Okay. I'll stop drinking the dreams. I'm sorry, Paul. What?
We talked about it in other contexts with the apps and stuff.
Right.
This is Steam curators. Steam curation.
Oh, yes.
This.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna drink this now.
So, Steam curators is a thing they started a couple years ago, where people can, you can follow a particular Steam curator, and they will add game. Theoretically, they can like put games.
Yeah, it's like they're
and
saying
recommend games and stuff.
I'm making a list of games that I think are worthwhile saying a thing about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
a lot of
things that I think
curators
aren't.
have like specific groups and topics and things they do. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's or some people are personalities and like here's a list of games I like, that kind of thing.
But because we can't have nice things, there's also this whole thing of sort of fake curators. So the scam or the deal basically is that there's people who have I don't know if they're actually bots, but they're effectively like a curator farm, I guess.
Right.
They'll have a an account that appears to have lots and lots and lots of people following it. So it appears to be a very successful curator.
And so if I am a dev, I see this person post on my game, and I'm like, oh, this person's popular.
Yeah, and
worse
and
than that.
then the person who is they send out things to devs being like, I'm a big shot curator.
Right.
Send me a code for your game.
Right.
So that I
because if I like your game,
Yes.
it'll give it a big boost.
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought it was like thought it was just random spam, but it's literally about I look huge, so you think you need to give me a
And
key.
then they sell that code on like
G2A.
G2A or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's the general scam.
Okay, yeah.
So a developer did a thing where he was like, "That's awesome," and sent out codes to all these curators, not telling them that these codes, which looked like real code or looked like real codes,
They are codes, yeah.
were actually basically demo codes. Like they were only for like the first level of the game.
Yeah.
But then he was able to by the number of people who actually used the code to get the game.
Yeah.
Was able to figure out, whether people were using the code themselves or whether people were
they'd email him
reselling
back to
them.
be like, hey, there's a problem with this code you gave me. It doesn't actually
Right,
involve
like if it's a
game.
legitimate person, then they would be concerned about it.
But a scammer is trying to sell that code, so they don't want to.
They're not going to
activate it.
Yeah, so they're just like, I have a copy of this, so I go to G2A, I sell it, and then the person who gets the code is like, what the fuck? This is for a demo
But it gets
version.
better because on Steam, you can only leave a review for a game if you've played the game, but that's not true of curators.
Right.
They can leave a review even if they haven't played a game, and so a bunch of curators that did not contact him to say there was a problem with this game flipped their reviews to negative after getting complaints from their customers they'd sold the codes to.
Which meant that this dev could then point to those things at Steam and say, these guys are bot farms. Because I sent them codes for a prologue, they had a positive review for the game, and then they went ahead and changed it to negative after they sold the code. And then Steam was like, great, and started just killing those accounts.
So yeah, there's been a bit of a purge apparently. Good on people who are able to catch these guys, and don't buy stuff from G2A.
This is why you get it's instances like this. This is why you see devs who are like, if you're just going to constantly email me asking for codes, I'm probably going to ignore your emails, because they have their own PR systems of stuff that they send out already.
We are on like way more lists apparently than
It's not hard to get onto a list.
Yeah, and I was like, but it seems like it's like growing exponentially, that as games come out or other things are going on.
Lists.
Yeah, we're on game lists. And
not
essentially
hit lists.
And essentially like code lists.
I thought other lists.
Okay, yeah.
Well, there's probably some other lists. They don't email us though.
40 under 40. So but it's like I have to do so much curation of my own, of our own inbox, just to kind of take care of what's coming in and who's offering us codes. And when you get on a really good list, because it's like then you start getting like really neat stuff, and like you get like AAA games being offered all the time, or really like fantastic indie games that are coming out that everyone's got a lot of buzz over. But then you're also on a lot of other lists for like games that's like not everyone's really talking about this. It doesn't actually seem like it's that good of a game, or it's always in early access.
But I mean, that's if your marketing budget isn't big, sending out email blasts is you
cheapest,
trying to do your marketing.
Exactly. And it's funny to me when it's like when we get stuff, like we're getting stuff all the time, and I'm like, I don't ever have to go begging for codes for games, and it seems to me like a really weird thing to be doing, that you're like, I'm going out and I'm begging for codes so that I can scam the thing, so I can turn around and actually throw it in the on G2A or whatever. I'm like, it's odd to me that that's seen as, oh, this is a good way to scam a system, because I wouldn't think that'd be even that lucrative, that there'd be that much code begging directly from a dev, but I guess it happens. I was completely unaware that was a thing that went on.
It's bad for the devs, though.
It is bad for the dev, absolutely.
Bad for everybody, really. Speaking of bad for... No, wait, no. Not bad for everybody.
Paul, are we gonna make the subtitle of ChillPoint just we can't have good things?
No.
Because it's a really weird vibe.
We can have good things.
Can we?
Yeah.
Can we have good things? Can you tell me a good thing?
Like DK Bongos.
I do like DK Bongos.
Because somebody has made a new game for the DK Bongos.
Yeah.
In Unreal Engine 5.
Those are GameCube?
Yes. It is GameCube. Is it a rhythm game?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Is it?
It's downloaded for free on itch.io.
It didn't really look like it. Didn't.
Should
look
we
like
watch a little bit of
the
the trailer?
I think that's a rhythm game.
Because there are people who play like Dark Souls with bongos.
It was described as a platformer, which I also am not sure if that's not what I'm used to seeing for platformers.
So you like?
Yeah, I remember that day. That never happened.
So this is when you would play. Yes, when you would play this.
This is Donkey Konga, which also not really. Well, no, this isn't Donkey Konga. the Donkey Kong game where you can run around, it's more of a platformer. It's not really a thing. The video is much more. It's more near the end.
Okay, yeah. Let me.
With the
So this is that some dev stuff. Okay.
Because this is a person working on a lot of.
You're
Okay,
gonna
here we
need
go.
that Wii U GameCube plug-in. Yes.
So
Yeah,
you're.
because this does make me think of a
damn it.
runner, like Runner 3, kind of, but with the bongos. Yeah, I
So
have that
long,
too.
lady.
Have a cup of anxiety.
Skip.
I'll take the anxiety over the mud water, thank you. Because it
So yeah,
kind of
it looks like it's got rhythmy aspects to it.
It looks like you're the one perpetuating the running.
He's like tap tap tap
Which-
tap 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 to run, maybe.
Yeah, which isn't really a rhythm thing so much as if I tap a lot, then I run.
Right, because you're hitting. It's
Which is
basically
much
you
more
hitting
like-
a button.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
The Donkey Konga game, because the Donkey Konga game is not actually a rhythm game.
You know what's weird though is that this actually puts me in mind of accessibility controllers.
Yeah.
Big buttons that are soft to press. You know, like has a bit of that feel. Neat though that it's like let's bring this back.
I mean,
anyway.
if any game that runs the Donkey Kongas counts as a rhythm game for you, Paul, I'm willing to play any game that uses them as a controller for Rhythm Cafe. I don't know how we set that up. I don't know if we have a thing that'll convert GameCube.
We need-
I would not object to you and Ian doing that.
We need the Wii
I'm just going
U
to tell you that right now. but-
GameCube thing. Somebody told me they had one of those. They're like, do you need a Wii U? Maybe I had a dream about this, but do you have do you want one of the Wii U GameCube controller converters? And I was like, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Speaking of accessibility, actually,
I'm gonna have so many opinions. I'm sorry.
But in
Completely
another
different way.
realm,
Mm-hmm.
so there's a game called "I Was a Teenage Exocolonist."
Yeah, this is just out recently.
Yeah, and it's sort of a visual novel type game, except it's got some sort of adventure game aspects to it. And the thing that is apparently it's gotten quite good reviews and everything. People seem to like it a lot. But one of the things about it that is kind of interesting is it has extremely detailed and extensive content warnings in it, and extensive and detailed in the sense that it has content warnings for various different things that may happen in the game, but then also the depth of the warning is controllable. So the example they show here is saying, many characters will die over the course of this game. Some are children at the time of their death. Some are family and close friends of your character. Some may be saved by winning card battles, having high enough skill at a certain point, making different decisions, or unlocking the ability to save by replaying the game. Some characters cannot be saved. And then you can say, spoil me for who died. And in fact, not only can you say like who will spoil me for who's going to die.
Yeah.
It'll even, you can then go deeper and be like, how exactly will each person
Oh, interesting.
die?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is a little different from like there's games that have things where they're like, like I forget what game it was where there's like spiders and people were scared of spiders and there's a mode that makes the spiders just sort of blobs and they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, this is different from that in that this is not actually removing the content.
Yeah.
But this is giving you as much information as you feel you need in order to evaluate whether you want to do it or not.
Does it? Do you have the ability to be like, I'd like to skip that scene?
I'm not sure
Because I've seen some games where they're like,
Yeah.
here's your warning. And sometimes the warning's very basic, and it's just like, there's some blood, or this is going to be a very sad moment with some depression, and you can say, I would like to skip the scene, and it just takes you past that scene and then continues going. I'm trying to remember what one that was. It was like the dog with the paintbrush that did that.
Okami?
That qualifies,
Yes. I'm helping. But
Chicory, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew Chat would know. I knew Beach would just be a jerk.
Shit all over this thing, but this is interesting. I had a whole thing about this last night talking to Heather, and I guess that probably helped me distill my thoughts on this. I think this is really cool that it's like at the top of the game, when you're like at the main menu, there's a button that's like content warnings. So you have the choice right now to be like, I'm going to click on this thing, and I'm going to get a series of categories of different style of content warnings that can tell me the things that are about to happen in this game, because the game is essentially a visual novel. It has the card battling mechanic. You have choices you can make throughout the thing, but it doesn't play out like a platformer or roguelike or whatever. It is a visual novel, and I think that's really cool that they have this introduced. And one of the Polygon comments I read that got like promoted, because I went and read the comments.
Why?
Well, because
why do you hate yourself?
I saw one that was promoted, and I'm like, well, what do they have to say? And they talked about the nature of exposure therapy. That.
Oh no! Is this a good comment? Or
It is a good comment,
okay.
actually, because it basically was telling somebody else that the way exposure therapy works is that how it's supposed to work is that you talk about with your therapist the thing that is a trigger to you, the thing that bothers you, the thing that you have a phobia of, whatever it is. And then you are supposed to talk about that at length so you can both understand the nature of how this thing triggers and what's supposed to happen. And then you're supposed to work together to be like, we're going to do exposure therapy to this, and I'm going to prepare you for when that's going to be, and then we're going to sit here and we're going to come up with a methodology to do this, and then we're going to expose you to the trauma, and we're going to do that in a way that's, in a way that you can
safe.
handle it.
Yes. That's the point.
We'll go through steps by that so that you can stop it at any time, that we can remove ourselves from the situation. We know that we're safe. And it's like, this is the similar, I shouldn't say same, but it is a similar kind of idea, so that you know that you're going to play a game where it is possible that a character as a child dies, which might be a trigger to you, but now you know that going in, and you can either choose to either play the game or say, I won't play the game, or I will play the game, but now I know this is coming.
Yes, there are some people who literally read the entire synopsis of a movie before they go watch the movie, because that alleviates anxiety and is really good for them.
Yeah.
The reason I reacted the way I did was I have seen so many comments that talk about exposure therapy, and what they mean is, I get to push you in front of a bus because I'm doing it for your own good.
Yes.
And I literally clench my fists the moment I hear somebody start being like, you gotta face your fears, and you need to stay away from everyone on the planet.
The communication and analysis with therapist before and after, and the controlled circumstances of actually experiencing whatever the thing is is the sort of vital part about what makes exposure therapy a therapy and not just exposing you to the thing.
Exactly. The people are mentioning the site Does the Dog Die, because that's
it also they also cover some video games. But it's the way that site works is it's a lot of people reporting things. So you have to, as long as you're not playing games like the day they drop, it's a very good resource.
Now, the other thing I talked about at length to you that bugged me was that I read Nintendo Life's review of this, because I saw this, I was like, this seems like a really neat game. I don't know, when I saw it was a visual novel, I'm like, oh, that might not be what I want to do. I like a little more mechanical action in a game like this, the survivals type thing. And I read their review, and they gave it a 7 out of 10. That they're like,
that's a decent score for a game.
This is a good score for a game. And they went on and on about how nice the game was. But they went on and on about using the word nice over and over, like dozens of times throughout the whole thing. on purpose because they're like, we really need to emphasize the niceness of this game. Like, this is a nice game, that it's like, really, it is a nice game. It is a nice experience. There's all these people being nice in a nice situation, like in a situation that should be like kind of scary because it's a big survival situation, right? But it's like, but they're all being nice, and the situation is nice, and the way things are playing out are nice, and all these other things are nice about the game. And we didn't find that the card battling action was quite tense enough, that it was just kind of too nice to you, and they kind of kept putting this on there, and I was like, I hadn't seen the review, and I'm like, I'm gonna get to the bottom, it's gonna be like a 3 out of 10 or something, and I get to the bottom, it's a 7, and like in the last couple paragraphs, they're like, we keep saying that it's nice because it is, and we're going back to play again because we liked the game so much. But I'm like, when I see somebody do that, they just kind of keep harping on it. I'm kind of like, okay, that's weird. And then when I read the Polygon article, it's like, hey, there's content warnings in this game because there's stuff that you might not want to experience because it's traumatic. And I'm like, did you two play the same game? Because in the one case, there's traumatic stuff in the game, and in the other case, you're saying the game is so nice. And I'm like, people die in the narrative. How does that make it nice,
this is
right?
why it's a good idea to read a number of reviews by different people.
Death by excessive niceness.
Yeah, because I'm like, you're making the game sound like Ooblets. Right?
Oh, that just came out. I need to
a
play
nice,
that.
cute game that has going to have some things you can do in it, but is probably not a thing where it's like your Ooblets will die every night if you don't feed them. Like that kind of, that probably doesn't come up in the game.
Pikmin 3? No.
Right? So it's like, it's really weird that they don't really give you that. I'm getting two different like takes on the game.
Well,
and
yes, they're two different people.
Yeah.
I would be concerned if the different reviews were exactly the same.
Yeah, I thought that maybe the Nintendo Life review would be a little bit more like, oh, and there's content warnings in the game because there are things that happen and whatever. Like, they seem to just kind of gloss over that.
To be honest, I don't read the Nintendo Life reviews. I scroll all the way down to the bottom, just before the number.
Yeah.
So that I can read the list of pros and cons, because it's the summary.
The little summary.
Yeah,
I read
TLDR.
I read the summaries of reviews more than if I find a review and it has no summary in it, I actually skip it.
Yeah,
because I prefer. Sometimes I read a full review. I do, but most of the time, I'm afraid the review is going to have like a spoiler thing that I don't want to know.
That's fair.
But if I can read the summary, I can know if it's going to be a good game for the system I'm playing it on. Because maybe it's glitchy, or if the person's con is like, oh, I'm playing a Warriors game, but it's really grindy, and like, okay, well, I can remove that con from the list
because I know that's what's part of the game,
like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what's also nice?
What's that, Paul?
Learn to play the guitar.
Yes, it is. I agree.
I don't know about that.
I started when I was 17, so I could attract women. I don't know if it worked.
You never played the guitar anywhere near me when we talked.
Yeah. But later on, when you saw that I could play the guitar, you seemed to like it.
Yes, but we were already dating at
Yes,
that point.
see?
Yes.
At that point, it was like, well, I'll stick with it.
People just like people who can play music.
You also said you started the anime club to meet women, and then you never talked to anyone. So
That's right.
I don't know if your tactics are really things you should listen to.
Exactly. Don't take my advice.
Well, I'm talking about Rocksmith Plus. Now, Rocksmith has been out for a while now, of course. Mm-hmm. But Rocksmith Plus is an upcoming... so Rocksmith is sort of the... I guess you could call it like the sort of grown-up rock band thing, in the sense that it's still sort of it's trying to make the Rock Band Guitar Hero video game thing, but with a real guitar.
It has a different goal to its gameplay. It's trying to teach you how to play the guitar.
Yeah.
As opposed to just playing a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by the sort of.
I'm just laughing at the grown-up part.
Yeah. And trying to do, and so no, Rocksmith has been out for a while, and they have got some neat ways of making it so it can use a regular guitar rather than a plastic button thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that it is a more valid way of playing a game than otherwise.
Yeah. It is a more valid way of playing an actual guitar.
It's a better way. It's a better way of learning how to play the guitar. That's certain. Anyway, but Rocksmith Plus is an upcoming. I guess it's a service.
I don't know. It's so unclear.
They announced this a while back with a bunch of other stuff that they gave names to, but they didn't.
So it's going to be
Say anything about?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a Rocksmith Plus is going to be a $15 a month subscription,
Right.
Which you can also purchase in groups, and with that you get a big library of over 5,000 songs, a variety of genres, and then teaching and practicing tools, adaptive difficulty that scales the song's complexity with the player's skill level, and a bunch of extra stuff. You can get some if you already own the original Rocksmith. You can get some free discount on subscriptions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can also they also have an app that basically allows you to use your phone as the microphone for picking up the guitar stuff.
I think you can because does it allow you to sing into it? I know that it's meant to be also as a tuner and stuff, which is handy.
Yeah, I don't think it does singing as well.
Okay.
I think Ian played Rocksmith or something like it on Rhythm Cafe.
Yeah.
That VOD is definitely not available.
Yeah, Corey bought Rocksmith a while back, and so I think that's why he had brought in to play it to kind of show it off.
I'm just saying the music selection on that definitely got everything blocked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I mean, in some ways, that's a good. It's good for Rocksmith in the sense that it's like, hey, you get all these very popular, well-known songs.
Yeah.
Just not good for streaming.
Yeah. I played it once, and I saw it had House of the Rising Sun. I'm like, great. And I put it on, and I'm just going to sit here and play House of the Rising Sun while the things come down. And I did great.
Good.
Of course, because it is also evaluating you on being able to play it exactly how it's showing you, because that's the whole point of teaching somebody how to do a thing. But if you already know the song, it's like, I'm just going to sit here and cheat because I know how the song goes.
I mean,
I've already done this shit.
That's just the difference between playing a song on a rhythm game for the first time versus playing one that you've played
300 times,
right?
yeah.
So you get better at it.
Exactly.
And it also, the idea is that it can you can scale up to, it can show you different versions of House of the Rising Sun depending on how
you can play the
fancy
harder version if you need to. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my friends actually from high school was doing engineering at SFU, and one of the projects he was working on was a special electric guitar recording pickup that basically recorded the vibrations of each string individually, so that they could be mixed in post.
Oh, neat.
Oh, cool. Okay, so I think Gibson tried something like that too, where they were using Ethernet cables as the out instead of the instead of a standard 1/4 inch on just on a guitar cable, like a standard ass cable. The idea being that they would read each part of the pickup separately, and then you could actually decide, I want to up on these strings, I want to bring down on these strings, I need to add post processing on these strings, or add a pickup to only certain strings, not a pickup, effects.
An effect.
I want to add effects to the high ones, but not the low ones, and it was crazy. It was I don't know if that stuff ever caught on or if they kept doing it or not. But.
So Rocksmith Plus is just Rocksmith. Subscribe.
I think Plus is the subscription model for Rocksmith, or it's the new version of Rocksmith. Rocksmith came out in 2014.
Yeah.
So this is the new Rocksmith, and it's going to be a live service.
Yeah, which is not that surprising. That's how a lot of these things have kind of trended towards. I like to see less rhythm games doing this trend.
Yeah. I think it's actually kind of a cool idea to do it this way, because I'm like, Rocksmith is one of those things that is not only a fun thing to do, I mean, playing an instrument is a fun thing to do, but as a means of learning your instrument and teaching you, and it's that is something that, doing over time. And
of the things that, of these sort of games or whatever that, you pay a subscription fee to, one that is actually, has a sort of outside the game purpose, it's actually a teaching thing as well as being fun, or hopefully. I feel like that's. I feel like I certainly if I was wanting to learn guitar, I could justify that a lot better than just if it was just rather than a $15 subscription to Rock Band.
Yeah.
I feel like. But
and just seeing that, well, again, also the idea of with a live service is there's this sense that it's we want to maintain the game and keep it going for a while. We want to keep putting new content into the system.
No, there's
Yeah.
There's many benefits to this model.
Yeah.
I'm not against it for this game. I've seen a lot of rhythm games start to trend this way, and
Yeah.
I'd like not every single one of them to go that way, because I do like having a game that I can keep that in potentially 10 years I still pull out, because I still play Owen Dawn and Elite Beat Agents in those games, and if they were subscription service only
That's no fun.
and they go away, there's
And it's weird, right? Because it's like, I've seen you guys play a lot of rhythm games. I've been on Rhythm Cafe where we've played rhythm games that are largely like, you need to buy the DLC, you need to buy another 100 songs, you need to do this to kind of keep the game going or whatever.
I don't mind DLC as an add-on thing.
When that kind of stuff comes up, I'm like, okay, I see there's a, there's this, that's the additional way that we draw revenue out of you. And I definitely like the idea of, I buy a game, it's mine, I play it, I finish it, I'm done. Or I need to do like you're doing with like the Hatsune Miku games, where you're just like, well, we've already made it to hard, everyone, so extreme it is, and it's like you're just basically. I have a feeling
on 70 more songs in the last DLC
if there was
pack, I'm
anybody
so
in the moon base that I ever had to rely on to do like an emergency tracheotomy or something on me, it's either going to be you or Adam. I have a feel.
I do not think I would be good at that.
The level of hand-eye coordination and the ability to make quick decisions, I'm just like, I have a feeling that it's like, oh yeah, I can totally do these things. I have very steady hands. I can do all the things I need to do.
So I'm going to let you know, as a very young child, I wanted to be a doctor for about 2 weeks, because I wanted to help people, and then I found out blood was involved, and I wanted nothing to do with it, and I'm still of that opinion today.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to get Adam to do it.
Probably then, yeah. But the idea of I don't like live service games as a rule, because I think that extracting money from your pocket sucks. But I'm like, Rocksmith Plus seems like the kind of thing where I'm like, I think I could bite the bullet on that. If that was how I was going to learn guitar, it's like, well, I'll put $15 a month on it down for like the course of a year, and if I actually use it a lot and I get better at the guitar, at some point I can just cut that off and be like, now I can just go on the internet and find chords and stuff and keep playing on my own.
Definitely just buy the year outright, because it's $150 for the year,
because a lot of
or something, or $140 or something.
A lot of learning an instrument is the constant practice of it. And if you can't, if you've bought an instrument because you're like, I want to learn the guitar, and then you never find yourself that driven to play it, then that's not great. But if you have a game that you can pay $15 a month to be like, okay, I'm paying $15 a month, I'm gonna practice some of this month, it's gonna be my motivation to do it, and then you get to a point where you're pretty good, you're like, I don't have to play it anymore, I'll just practice on my own and get better because I've developed a love for it.
Sure.
That's kind of how I feel, why that seems like a pretty good idea.
Chat brings up a good point, which is if you had Alex do your immediate your emergency tracheotomy, he would probably already have the tools.
That's a good point, actually. Now that I think about it, Alex is a good choice for that too.
Alex,
I don't mean he would have to have them at home. He would have them in his pocket.
Yeah,
that's probably true.
Okay, I revamped this all. If I needed to have an emergency tracheotomy, Alex is at the top of my list, because he would have the tools and he'd probably even know how to do it.
Tune in later for Beach's ranking of lure members. He's going to help him with this emergency tracheotomy.
to punch a hole in my throat.
I feel like this could be this might be a difficult thing to like do A/B testing on.
Would you rather?
Coming this Loading Ready Live.
Holy crap!
What order do all the Mario games go in? Because they are
every
all,
single one.
Do
like
they
including
exist?
Spin-offs?
Do they exist all in the same world, in the same timeline?
Oh no! Oh, you said that word.
If we're talking
Okay.
if we're talking like the Zelda timeline,
right?
But for Mario,
Okay. So my theory for Smash has always been that the Smash game is the hub world for all of the characters who can make it to that game, and based on that, every character who can get into Smash can get into the other worlds of the other characters. And so if all the Mario games also exist as their own kind of separate things, they're connected to that hub
So
world too.
the fact that we didn't see Smash show up in Wreck-It Ralph is just because they never actually went into the door that lets you go into Smash.
They're in their own kind of like...
Because essentially it's connected, because that whole room where the villains come in and sit down and chat, it's like, most of you are in Smash. Like,
so this is not just to annoy chat.
no, thank you.
There is a story
Can it be?
about this.
Mm-hmm.
which is this great post on r/Nintendo on Reddit that hypothesizes that if one were to put all of the Mario games in some sort of timeline, the Luigi's Mansion games are the end.
So, doesn't matter what comes before it. We do know the Luigi's Mansion games are the end of it.
Because at this point, Bowser appears to be dead.
Oh, so you're saying Mario can't exist without Bowser?
Well, he's in all the other games.
And he's alive.
For now.
Although we push him into lava in most of the games.
Yeah, well, he likes it there.
So
clearly,
this person. So this person has Exhibit A. In the first Mario's Missing game, saying, "Is Bowser somebody? Madame Clairvoya. Is Bowser somewhere in this mansion? I cannot believe it. I thought Mario had soundly defeated Bowser. Has King Boo somehow revived Bowser?"
Oh shit!
She talks as if Mario killed Bowser and is bewildered that he's still alive.
Wow. Okay.
Later, we find out that King Boo is using a mechanical Bowser suit. Exhibit B, Bowser is not referenced at all in Luigi's Mansion 2 or 3.
Okay.
He is usually referenced in one of the, in some way, and this is like one of the only Mario games. Those are some of the only Mario games that Bowser is not mentioned in at all.
Right.
And then, Exhibit C goes into more detail than I can understand.
Oh, okay. Well, so you never see the real mansion Luigi was able to buy with money from Luigi's Mansion in any of the other games. So that's just like, you never see that mansion in previous games.
Nor do you see Polterpup.
Yeah, so he gets a puppy ghost.
Okay.
As his friend who sticks with him. He's very cute. It's definitely the reason to play these games.
If you explore Mario and Luigi's house several times in the Mario RPG, we never see Polterpup either, which implies that Polterpup didn't exist then, only joins Luigi at the end.
Yes, because why would Polterpup ever not be around Luigi ever again?
Right.
He can't die. He's already a ghost.
Did he ascend?
I like this idea that Bowser, that Mario, the Mario franchise basically can't exist without the
unifying force that is King Bowser.
Well, without the Mario Bowser conflict.
I think the real thing is because if we're going with the Mario franchise and we include Luigi in that, the real trick is Mario can't exist without Bowser. He needs that relationship. Otherwise, he's got nothing to live for.
But Luigi can.
But Luigi can, because while Luigi might be scared of ghosts, he is independent.
It's true.
And now he has a Polterpup.
So
it's true. Luigi doesn't have the same kind of sort of codependent relationship Mario and Bowser have.
I mean, when you get left behind as the second brother all the time, I think you learn a little independence that Mario can never have.
So Mario Brothers is just the story of two plumbers cleaning out some pipes. Mario and Luigi doing that. Super Mario Brothers is when they get sucked in to go to the Mushroom Kingdom and have to save Princess Toadstool from Bowser, King of the Koopas. Mario The Lost Levels, so Mario 2 Japan, is just a continuation of having to do more of the same of that, or it's just parts that we missed from the first game that are like, these were always in the first game, maybe, whatever.
They're the parts of the stories that people glazed over, but were there.
It's like it's the Silmarillion of Mario. But then Mario 2 USA was a dream. Mario 3 was a play, and Mario World is what? Has dinosaurs.
It's an island that Mario.
Yeah, it's a huge place, which is he does that a lot because in Mario Sunshine they travel to an island again.
Yeah, Jurassic Park was an island of dinosaurs.
True.
Are you going to tell me that didn't exist?
Do the Yoshi Islands? Super Mario World 2 is Yoshi's island? Yes, and then Yoshi's Story comes after that. But that obviously has Baby Mario and Baby Luigi, so that has to come way earlier in the thing. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Shit. Now we are building a timeline. I hate this, Paul. I
Paper
hate
Mario,
this so much.
Paper Mario is his own Mario, and you can tell because Mario and Luigi have a crossover with Paper Mario.
Right.
I never said you had to do this.
No, but I am doing it, and I need to stop. Please give us anything else to talk about.
Okay, let's talk about something interesting or exciting in that big companies buying things from each other. Okay, actually, this is not.
This is Embracer Group? Is this?
It's surprisingly
When
not.
you say buying things, do you mean they actually buy things, or do you mean that they're just putting money into stocks?
Well, yes. It's putting money into stocks.
I gave you two options, and you just said yes, Paul.
The boring part.
Yeah, it's the boring one. From Software is selling 30% of the company to a combination of Sony and Tencent.
We don't actually know how much of that is is that a joint venture between Sony and Tencent, or is
do.
that them buying their own bits?
Tencent owns now 16.25.
Okay.
And 16.25%. Sony owns 14.09. And the rest is owned by From Software's parent company.
Interesting.
So, to be honest, I was slightly surprised Tencent didn't already own some chunk of From Software, just because I assume Tencent owns a chunk of everything.
Yeah. Anything that's actually making popular stuff, they always have their finger in.
It's not actually super uncommon for other companies to own stakes in a lot of these other companies.
And I mean, obviously, Sony, Sony has done this a few different times too. Basically, like Naughty Dog and a few other things where it's basically if somebody is making an extremely popular franchise for their Elden Ring came out for PC as well, but historically From Software has made primarily PlayStation stuff. So they're like, you guys were on the
same Sony will typically put money into people who make games for their stuff.
And we talked about earlier about how Rare was owned at one point at 49% owned by Nintendo. And so it's like it's not an uncommon thing. It's that we're a larger video game company will say, hey, you're making stuff for our platform, so we'll put the money in there. One thing I never really thought about until now that you're mentioning this is I'm like, that's just a cash infusion ultimately, isn't it? It's just basically saying we're going to give you lots of money, maybe a lot of like equipment and support and other things like that, but we're just dumping a bunch of money into your company so we can say that we own a piece of it, because you guys are all private companies. Yeah. Ultimately, like Nintendo's a publicly traded company, but or like Sony's publicly traded. Is From Software publicly traded? I don't think they are. I think they're just kind of they're their own company.
Know.
And it's like they're just Sony going out and being like, we're going to just buy a chunk of this company and now we own it. Do they keep putting money into it? If they do, they would be extracting more and more ownership of the company. I would assume to say we need more of a cash injection. But
I mean, they get a chunk of the revenue of the company. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of but the
Nintendo does do this a lot. Like they don't typically you see stories about dev teams being bought. Nintendo almost doesn't ever buy companies. They buy stakes in the companies. And
so like with Sony and Tencent like investing in a private company that definitely has their interest, it just is interesting because it just now occurred to me, I'm like, you just put a bunch of money into the company and say now we own a piece of it. Is there ever any point where FromSoft just turns around and says, okay, we're going to buy back that chunk that you own?
I mean, they can.
That does happen.
That does happen.
Yeah.
It's just stock trading.
Bungie did that.
Yeah.
They bought themselves back from Microsoft.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The weird or interesting, somewhat weird aspect of this is From Software is owned by Kadoka Corporation.
Kadokawa?
Kadokawa.
I'm seeing that there.
Kadokawa.
Yeah, United States company.
So From Software is owned by Kadokawa Corporation, as in they own all the rest of the shares.
Right.
And Tencent already owned a big chunk of Kadokawa Corporation.
Oh, yeah?
So they sort of owned a bit of it anyway.
Tencent has a stake in basically everything.
Because, again, Tencent owns everything.
Pretty much.
just they own bits of everything.
Yeah.
They don't seem to want. I mean, maybe they own fully some stuff, but they don't seem to be that interested in owning all of things. They just want little bits of things.
Which is not a bad way to diversify. If it's like if I spread my money out through a whole, if we're in the video game industry and I spread my money through a whole bunch of people in the video game industry, and they're always everyone's always doing something that's good, then I'm always getting some revenue from somebody.
Part of the reason Tencent owns so much is because you need to have a relationship with a Chinese company in order to be in that market.
Yeah.
And they're the big one that does that. Part of the other thing is if you own all of something, you also assume all the risk.
Yeah. But if you own 10% of a company, it's like I only take on 10% of that
And
risk. I only get 10% of the revenue, but
you can always shove off that
Yeah.
that later if that's not a thing.
Anyway, I believe that is the last piece of news.
How's the Dreams taste and treating you? I feel like the warmer it gets, the more it tastes like Starbursts in liquid form.
Oh.
I can get
Like
that
tropical strawberry.
Yeah, that sort of artificial tropical type flavor.
Yeah, it actually.
You need a warmer hit.
Just like now that you're talking, I got to make sure not to drop it on the keyboard.
Oh man, how warm is your Coke?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is the big fuzzy.
Like it's definitely, I think, better colder.
When you smell it, yeah, the idea of strawberry starburst really comes across.
Anyway, thanks everybody for watching our video game news / taste testing program. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you got some info out of it. If you haven't watched this week's episode of ChillPoint, you should.
Yeah.
It's up on LRRGG. VG. LRRVG. Not Loading Ready Run Good Games.
I do like that.
Loading Ready Run Video Games. LRRVG, which is also the place where you may be watching this if you are on YouTube. If so, hello. Please subscribe to this channel if you are not already.
Tell us about your Coke dreams. No, wait. Shoot.
That's a different thing.
Most people can't fall asleep when they're on Coke.
I mean,
so.
you do you.
Yeah.
But until next time, we will talk to all y'all later.
Bye.
Goodbye.